So I think I saw a sign of strength on TRVL actually, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to wait and be patient, wait for the strength, wait for strength to come, not preempt it, not over, not over, just wait. Yeah, basically that's kind of what I've been saying. It's good to wait and see what happens, and then you can make better decisions because you have more information, which is data driven, isn't it? It's all data driven. So we've come underneath the golden pocket. We're back into above the lower part of the golden pocket, and this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see the price go down, which has happened, go right back up. It's happened. It's cleared the liquidity from the highs, and it's made a higher high here in this context. And then we're coming back to find support here. If you hold that lower part of the golden pocket, then this could be a good entry for long. That's your invalidation, and then you're looking for a reclaim. Your next reclaim would be the 618, and you could actually, it is possible in this context to form a bottom and pattern, and this first part of it is in. And simply the reason why I say that is because we just, you've gone down, you've put a lower low, but you've gone straight back up and taken out the high. Okay, so we have to see how the price behaves here. It's like a little V, isn't it? And does the price now round? Does it kind of come into some kind of downward channel, or are we just going to get failure? And failure would be just to come right back down. Okay, so 3 choices here. Because we're still above the lower part of the golden pocket, I'm still thinking that we could still find support here. And then the only other thing to bear in mind is we're at the value area now, and the price is trying to find support. It's not succeeding at the moment, but it's trying. Okay, so it might just require it to go down one more time a little bit and then come back up, or we'll have to see. So there is a little bit of strength here in the price at these levels, a little bit of reaction from this area, and you can see the volume that's come in as well to support that idea. You've got some market buying, 246,000, and then here's like 191, 130, 150, 144, 142,000. So consistent buying here. What's interesting is here you had quite high volume selling, like 500,000 here. See that? Someone sold, like, that's the volume, so it's probably half and half, but that's quite a lot of volume. And then we had a reaction. Okay, so I'll be interested to see how this price forms here, and whether we can actually bottom out here. So this might take a while, so there's still time to be patient. If you look at the golden pocket and how it's drawn, and you see where the price is now, then it kind of, you can see there's a little reaction, right? And so the next confirmation here would be to reclaim the 618 at 39650. Okay, you can reclaim that as support. Then you might get a lot of people start buying again. Whatever happens here, you just have to go level to level to see what happens. Yeah, and so until it happens, if there's going to be an impulse, it will happen when it happens. But in this context, we need to reclaim that. Then we need to go back up to the point of control and test it. We need to go back down here, maybe back test it again. But either way, we need to just reclaim levels to go up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you go up impulsively or slowly. You still need to reclaim levels and flip them into support to go up, and that's effectively what needs to happen now. The question that many people might have is, well, I'm hesitant to buy because we've had many kind of situations where we had like little false starts, and actually the price just reversed and it started going down. And that's really the reason why people hesitate, because they're looking at this and they're thinking to themselves, well, obviously we're in some kind of downtrend now. What if we just keep on putting lower lows and just head right back to the bottom? You want confirmation to start longing. Yeah, you want confirmation to start buying. You're not. And so naturally I was saying to people, just let the price settle, which it's trying to do. But in this context, you want to see a back test, and you want to see the back test hold. So you see that you have this wick here with this green candle here. That was a very effective back test of the 618. We lost it, and we had one back test here as resistance, and we had one back test here as resistance. Yeah, so we don't actually have a confirmation of flipping it back into support. Here we've come underneath the lower part, the 6.6. We've come above, and we haven't yet had confirmation that there's support here. So we're still kind of free floating. We've had a little bit of indication of strength, but we're still free floating a little bit. And so what you'd want to see now for confirmation is either to find support here. That would be good, because if you do find support here and not lower down, then you have an invalidation too. And then you want to see the price go up and reclaim that. So that would be the sign of strength that would give me confidence that we're probably heading right back up to the point of control. If we can get back above the 618 and flip it with a back test into support, then I think it was more likely than not we're going to head up. And the only other thing you have to bear in mind, and just you have to bear this in mind, it's going to require a little bit of volume, just simply because you have a daily level here in the way. And so whatever happens, that daily level has to be contended with, and that also has to be somehow flipped into support. And so whether we go up like this first, or whether we are actually trying to form some kind of pattern here, you know, and we do something like this, it's anyone's guess really. And you see where we've come with finding support now. These two daily levels here are offering us a little bit of support. It kind of went through it and now it's back, so it's more of an area, and that kind of corresponds with the value area low on Bybit too. If we can hold here, then this could be the low, and confirmation would be to get back above the golden pocket. Okay, and that's how we'll know. And then if we do, I mean, imagine if we do manage to get back above the golden pocket, and then we could be, that could be the price action right up to the point of control. Is that the low? Potentially not. Yeah, you might want to see something else, because you could get people potentially continue selling into that, and it might be something else. You know, you might get another attack. I don't know. Who knows? That gets something. Yeah. Some kind of, what you're looking for is some kind of reversal pattern. Right. Look at the monthly time frame. It's pretty miserable for the bulls, isn't it? But we've finally come back into this red monthly candle, and we found a little bit of support. Okay, so maybe it's okay. Maybe we just came back down to fill the gap, and now we're into support. Look at this, increasing volume this week. See that? And we're getting some buying tails now. So we haven't had that in a while. So that's quite interesting. And that's the weekly candle. We have to see how the weekly candle closes. I mean, in this circumstance, a bullish close would be right back at previous week open, with a green candle with a wick underneath and increasing volume. That would be absolutely, in this context, the most bullish outcome for the bulls would be a close at 41091. Yeah, you close it at 41091. That'd be really bullish. Increasing volume with a green dragonfly doji in the lows, be really bullish. It could still be bullish if you have a red candle with a wick. It's just, we might still have another attack at the lows. That's the thing. So we're kind of in the right area. We are finding support. You see how the volume has kind of increased, but the price is just slowly. It's struggling to get down. Yeah. And obviously this has got something to do with Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin is now trying to turn, can you imagine? Look at what this is looking like now. If Bitcoin starts to turn now, and we start to turn now here, I think that's going to interest a lot of people if we start getting that kind of price action, because people are now looking at a ginormous 2-year inverse head and shoulders pattern. If this is the point where we are starting to find support, and if the price now starts to try to work its way up, this is going to start looking really interesting for a lot of people. Yeah. And you have in this context, you have a slanting neckline, something like that. And I don't know, you've got a really massive head, isn't it, all the way to the neckline. And this is going to take you to $1 just on that, just on this single. If we have a break of an inverse head and shoulders like this, the measured move would be about right up to $1. It's something to bear in mind. Okay, now patterns always can fail in many ways, and obviously failure in this context would be right back down. That's failure, so you don't want to see that. If we do find support and we do go up and we do break, then you might be looking for a back test somewhere, but without losing the neckline, but probably on some kind of back tested pivot like that, and that would make sense. So you wouldn't necessarily just kind of go up and up and up. You're probably looking for a retrace first before we have a kind of the volume coming. So that's where you can get a failure. So the failure is going to come after the first take profit, after we expand out of the neckline. Yeah, so you get this kind of, as the higher you get after you start forming this right shoulder, the more bullish it becomes, because the more interest you start to attract from the wider market, from the audience. Yeah. Then you need a break, and the break would just be people being more and more bullish as the price goes up, and they start buying in market, start pushing the price up. And then you have a break, and then you're going to have a big take profit. And the take profit is going to be anyone who's been buying here, anywhere here. They're going to have a big take profit, because wherever let's say your average is about 6, you go all the way up to 13, 14, whatever, 17 cents. You're looking at a 200% increase in value. So, you know, people will take profit, especially if they've got larger positions. And then the next question is, where do you come back, and where do you find support? So if you have a nice successful head and shoulders break, you don't have too many people taking profit. People are holding for higher, or you have people taking profit, but there's more people buying as the price pulls back, so you have continued interest. Then you could find support on the top of this pivot, would be the right place for continuation, for a higher low here, some back test for continued. But you need, and the problem here is that if you have too many people taking profit, not enough interest, then this is where you get the failure. And so you go from something that's potentially bullish, which is an inverse head and shoulders with a bullish breakout, to something that becomes extremely bearish. You just have to bear that in mind. So it's one thing to want an inverse head and shoulders, but the one thing we don't want is a failed inverse head and shoulders. And because if you do get a failed inverse head and shoulders like this, yeah, it's like a swing failure on the higher time frame. It's basically it's basically what it is people miss their opportunity to take profit at 12 cents, and this was their chance. They took profit at 12 cents. Yeah, so because they missed their first chance, the next time it comes around, they do it. They take that opportunity. They're not holding for higher. And even though here that would be really good, because if you went higher than 15 cents, you're putting in a higher high here on the weekly time frame, but then you'd be looking for a higher low. Okay, and again, this would look really bearish. And so if you do lose the neckline and some kind of horizontal SR flip, you're back underneath 9 cents, it becomes really bearish. In this context, I wouldn't be surprised if the price made another attempt for the lows. And so therefore, you don't want a false break. That's my point. If you want a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders to break, you want a proper break, you want increasing volume, and you want that volume to persist for the duration of the continuation. Yeah. Because it's really hard to recover from a failed inverse head and shoulders, which has been taking 2 years to form. It would be very difficult to recover from that. All right. The only way to recover from that would be to be again another fake out back above the neckline like that, but it wouldn't be easy. All right. And so it would have to be off 9 cents effectively. So for a short period of time, it would get really bearish, but then you could find support for continuation. So you just have to bear that in mind. All right. So anyway, there's some options here for what could happen. Whatever happens, it's going to require an increasing volume, because naturally there's a lot of people again. So it goes back to the same thing that I've always been saying, is trapped liquidity. You can't just go up, you have to clear the liquidity. This is the bull market volume, i.e. the volume from October through till now. You can see that we're underneath the value area into the golden pocket here. So according to Bybit, most of the volume since October has been above the current price. So potentially a lot of people are underwater. However, once you can start reclaiming levels, it'll start looking bullish again. And then we have to see if the volume comes in, if the people start getting bullish. But this is the same problem is here. Like when you go back up to 5 cents, when you go back up to higher numbers, you've got a lot of people who might be potentially trapped, who might be looking to sell without taking a loss as the price comes back up. And so that's the kind of thing you have to kind of keep an eye on. And then obviously the next thing you have to keep an eye on is this current high. If people miss the 12-cent high, they may be looking to sell into that. Okay. And so whatever happens here with this inverse head and shoulders, we need a convincing break with volume. You want to basically, you need the bulls to overcome the sellers. And so when the people who are selling are taking profit, people who bought lower are taking profit, that volume has to be overcome with more continuous buying to push the price up. All right, that's TRVL. And then yesterday we had an update, and all you have to do is just go on to the channel, Dtravel's channel, and have a look. It's quite a good update, and it was quite a good update. Yeah, it was yesterday. You can see this update here. You read about it, the Airbnb sync, and it says the dev team have nearly finished the rewards program. So that's going to be a big deal for increasing TRVL value, mainly because people will need TRVL, and therefore for the first time we're going to have some kind of significant utility. There's some major changes coming to the website next week. Okay, and look at what they write. This is the beginning of a new chapter for Dtravel, and the rewards program will provide an opportunity for the community to earn from it. So we have to see how that plays out. It's quite good updates. I'm not going to go on for much longer.